Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Good Friday. And so, good Friday morning. It is Dr. Dowd, Prevention Advocate, here with this week's Acknowledge Nugget. And so, it actually kind of piggybacks on the mentoring moment for this week. And so, if you haven't got a chance to review it, go check it out. Okay, so let's get to it. And so this week we're talking about minding manners, right? Minding your manners. And so I wanted to share something that I see, and I think it is a good subject to talk about because it's concerning to me in various ways that, it has become so common for um, certain behaviors to be um, overly generalized, and that it is something that is usually misdiagnosed, something that is not properly assessed before people speak on it, and that is character, right? Everything is not a clinical diagnosis, everything is not a mental health disorder or a mental health illness or issue. It's character. It's character. And sometimes our character needs a overhaul. Sometimes our character needs a reset. Sometimes we need to mind our manners. Okay. And so character is your attributes, it's behaviors, it's a lot of the things you do and why you do them. And so sometimes when there's controversy and conflict about them, it's not necessarily a clinical diagnosis. It may just be a character flaw. And so we are to be responsible for our own character, right? Regardless of what people say, regardless of what people do, we're responsible for how we show up, right? We are. And so we should be showing up in our authentic selves, not with these issues and these flaws, on our sleeves until we become projecting and we become offensive. Okay. And so that's this week's Acknowledge Nugget. Mind your manners, right? Check the man in the mirror. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to blame. It's easy to gaslight because that's so much that goes on in today's society, unfortunately. But you're accountable and responsible for yourself. And so look in the man in the mirror, right? Take an assessment and, be honest with yourself. What are some things that you can change about your personality and your character that is a flaw? Because we all have them. All right. And throughout life, we should be maturing. We should constantly be going through a maturation process. We should be processing things that happen in our life, even the bad, right? So these things don't show up for us, and they're not the things that speak for us, and they're not the things that we harbor onto, and it sets up bitterness, it sets up hostility, it sets up anger, and a bunch of other things that are really not useful, that they become defense mechanisms. Okay, so remember Wednesday we talked about defense mechanisms. We talked about conditioned behaviors that are really defense mechanisms, and so again, this is something again that kind of marries and intersects with that. Again, everything is not a clinical diagnosis. So be careful not to, that's not what you say something is. It's not what you allow other people, to say something that you may be dealing with adversely, that it's a mental health issue. That has its place. That has its place. Okay. It has its place. But some things are character flaws. They're character issues. They are just some bad habits in your personality that you've developed and you picked up. And they need to be reset. They need to be overhauled. They need to be assessed. They need to be redone. They need to be do away with and replaced with some more positive ones. Okay. And so that is something that encourage you today to be mindful of, and take the challenge, go over some of your behaviors and actions that identify and illustrate your character and your preferences. All right, and ask yourself some hard questions and minds in check. All right. All right. Because be honest, we all get mad at times, we all get upset at times. Sometimes, we all get angry, and, but it's issue if this is constantly and we're easily angered, okay, and you're easily irritated. Those are all warning signs, okay? And again, our emotions and our feelings are warning signs that we need to properly address something. And those are the things that shouldn't be showing up and speaking for us. We should be speaking for ourselves. And so it's properly putting things in their proper place, okay? And again, things like character and manners, okay? That is still such a thing. We're supposed to mind our manners. We shouldn't be showing up, manifesting all over the place with rudeness and nice nastiness and being prickly. No. Yep. It's easier said than done, but it takes work, and do the work. Do the work. Make sure that you are showing up, as your authentic self and not bleeding on others. Okay. And again, at times, sometimes we need to step back, depending on where you at in life and what you got going on. Sometimes you need to take time, set time apart and say, hey, I'm a just, lay back for a minute. I'm gonna spend some time and work on myself. I'm gonna fall back and work on my character. I'm a put this down, avoid going here, running there. I need to work on me. Okay. And so this is all about character development. It's all about personal development. And why this thing is so important is because when you don't address the character issues, when you don't address, the rudeness and the anger, the bitterness, the unforgiveness, the anxiousness, the hostility, the callousness, the stealthness, all those things again. It's a part of character, becomes a part of personality, becomes a part of your attributes. Now we get into a danger zone, and those things tend to turn into something else. Now we're talking about clinical diagnosis. Now we're talking about some mental health issues. Now we're talking about some signs and symptoms of mental health disorders. And so that's why this is so important. It's almost like what the elders used to say growing up: nip it in the bud, get on it, right? Don't let it fester, don't let it spread. It's just like when you see trash, pick it up, put it in the garbage. All right. And so this is something to work on. And I'm not going to tell you that it happens overnight. This may be something that you have to work on, days and the weeks ahead. And if you need help, reach out, get help that you need. But we all, again, have character flaws. Every human being that walks the face of the earth has character flaws. We are imperfect people. But the thing is, again, that you address them, that you take care of them, right? You positively put them in right perspective and place. And there's nothing wrong, again, like I just stated, but taking some time, falling back on some things, you know what I'm saying? And taking care of self, doing the work, doing the inner man work, okay? I know we still live in a society that is really, really hung up on facades and, the outer appearance. But what happens when your outward beauty, is faded because you show up ugly? Because you ugly on the inside. And I know it's something that we don't like to talk about, but we've all seen it. You can be the most beautifulest person in the world on the outside, but you show up ugly because you don't mind your manners. You have not put your character flaws in check. You have not did the work. Okay. And so Dr. Dal gonna always tell you, do the work. Do the work. Things don't change until you take action. And so do the work. Work on this stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. And anybody that tells you it is, maybe they not for you. Maybe it's time to give them a gift, a goodbye. So again, I'm always going to tell you what we talk about here is it's not in a way to, shift blame, point fingers at others. It's to work on the man in the mirror. You do the work that you need to do on self. Okay, so make sure this weekend, it's Resurrection Weekend, and I celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay, be safe, be positive, and I challenge you today to start, going over assessing your character and see where you have some flaws and get busy. Make some changes. All right. It's a good time to do it. We're still in the spring season. Weather is changing. And so you should make some changes. All right. Until next week, I'll be back. All right. Take great, good care of yourself. Be well, be wise, and do the work. All right. Chat soon and peace.